She hadn't eaten in 5 days, not because there was no food in the world, but because the world had quietly decided she didn't matter enough to deserve any. Her stomach had stopped growling hours ago, replaced by a dull, hollow ache that felt less like hunger and more like surrender. She stood outside the grocery store as evening fell, fingers numb, pride already broken, dignity hanging by a thin thread she was too tired to hold on to anymore. If you believe that kindness can still change lives, that second chances still matter, and that one good decision can rewrite someone's fate, take a moment right now to like this video, comment your thoughts, share it with someone who needs hope, and subscribe to the channel. Stories like this exist because people like you still believe. Her name was Lily, and she was 22 years old, though life had aged her far beyond that. The city lights flickered on above her, blurring through tears she refused to let fall. 5 days without food does something strange to the mind. It makes memories sharper, regrets louder, and hope dangerously fragile. Every step she took felt heavy, as if the pavement itself was asking her why she was still walking when it would be easier to sit down and disappear. She hadn't always been this way. There was a time when Lily laughed easily, when she believed hard work would be enough, when she thought love was permanent. But her mother died when she was 16, her father vanished into his own grief shortly after, and by 18 she was surviving on couches, favors, and promises that always aspired. College dreams faded first, then friendships, then even the belief that tomorrow could be better than today. The shelter was full that night. Again, she stood at the door longer than she should have, staring at the sign, knowing the answer before she asked. Her phone was dead, her bank balance non-existent, and the job interview she'd pinned her last hope on had ended with polite smiles and empty assurances. Hunger made her dizzy, shame made her silent. She wandered instead, past houses glowing warm with dinner tables and laughter, past families who didn't know how lucky they were. She told herself not to look inside, but her eyes betrayed her. The smell of food drifted through the cold air, and her legs trembled. 5 days, she counted them like scars. That was when she noticed the man struggling with grocery bags near the curb. One bag split, cans rolling onto the sidewalk. Lily froze, instinct screaming at her to keep walking. Help required energy she barely had, and she didn't expect kindness anymore anyway. But something in her moved forward before fear could stop it. She knelt, gathering cans with shaking hands, apologizing for being in the way though she wasn't. The man thanked her, his voice tired but genuine. He looked about 35, worn in the way people get when they've been responsible for others for too long. A child waited in the car, face pressed to the window, eyes curious. The man noticed Lily's hands trembling, the way she moved too slowly, the hollow look in her eyes. He offered her a bottle of water without asking questions. She almost refused out of habit, but thirst won. The water burned going down, and she had to steady herself against the car. He didn't ask what was wrong. He didn't offer pity. He just stood there, quietly observing, the way people do when they're deciding whether to step into someone else's pain or walk away. Lily thanked him and tried to leave before her weakness embarrassed her further, but he stopped her, not with force, just with the sentence that changed everything. He asked when she'd last eaten. The words cracked something open. 5 days spilled out of her before she could stop herself. She hated the way his face changed, not with judgment but with concern so real it scared her. He glanced at his child in the car, then back at Lily, as if making a decision that would ripple beyond this moment. He told her his name was Mark. He told her he was a single dad. He told her to wait right there. Lily expected him to come back with a sandwich, maybe a few groceries. She expected a small kindness she could thank him for and then disappear into the night again. What she didn't expect was for him to return, open the car door, and say the words that felt impossible. Pack your things, you're coming home. She laughed at first. A weak, broken sound. Home was a word she no longer trusted. She told him he didn't know her, that she didn't need saving, that she couldn't impose. Her stomach twisted violently, reminding her of how fragile her independence really was. Mark didn't argue. He simply told her his spare room was empty, his fridge was full, and his conscience wouldn't let him drive away. He said his daughter deserved to see what helping someone looks like. He said sometimes people don't need lectures, They need dinner. The ride to his house felt unreal. Lily stared out the window, afraid the moment would dissolve if she breathed too hard. His daughter, Ma, chattered softly from the backseat, asking innocent questions about Lily's favorite color, her favorite food. Lily answered quietly, voice trembling, afraid to hope. The house was small but warm, lived in a way that made Lily's chest ache. Mark handed her a bowl of soup first, nothing heavy, explaining gently that her body needed time. She cried into the steam, silent tears dropping into the broth as she took her first real bite in days. Food tasted like forgiveness. That night, she slept in clean sheets, her body exhausted but her mind racing. She expected to wake up and be asked to leave, to be reminded that kindness has limits. Instead, she woke to sunlight and the smell of coffee and toast. Emma waved at her like she'd always belonged there. Days passed, then weeks. Lily helped around the house, watched Emma after school, applied for jobs again. Mark never made her feel like a burden. He never asked invasive questions. He treated her like a person, not a problem. Slowly, the constant ache in her chest softened. She learned Mark's story too. His wife had died suddenly, leaving him to raise Emma alone. He worked long hours, carried guilt like a shadow, and still chose kindness when it would have been easier to protect only his own. Their shared brokenness created a quiet understanding. Lily found work at a small cafe told to copyright. Her first paycheck felt unreal in her hands. She cried again, this time in the bathroom at work, overwhelmed by the fact that she was surviving, not just existing. She started therapy through a local program Mark helped her find. Healing was slow, uneven, but real. One evening, months later, Lily stood in the kitchen watching Emma do homework, Mark cooking dinner, laughter filling the room. She realized she wasn't counting days without food anymore. She was counting moments she wanted to remember. She eventually moved into her own small apartment nearby, but Sunday dinners remained sacred. She became part of their story, not as a charity case, but as family chosen, not forced. And sometimes, late at night, Lily thought about that version of herself standing outside the grocery store, empty and invisible. She wondered how close she'd been to giving up completely. One sentence, one decision, one human being who didn't look away. If this story is touching your heart, if it's reminding you that small acts of kindness can save lives in ways we'll never fully see, please take a moment to like the video, share it, and let us know you felt it too. Before this story ends, we have a special request for you. Please comment the word kindness below if you believe compassion can change the world. Your words matter more than you think. Lily never forgot those 5 days without food, not because of the pain, but because of what came after. Because sometimes, the darkest hunger isn't for food at all, it's for being seen. And sometimes, all it takes is one person brave enough to say, you're not alone anymore.